Hi and welcome to a tutorial about the importance of knowing your chords and arpeggios. And in this instance I was playing just over a C major triad. And you noticed that I was getting interrupted by crows since I'm in the summer house. And you probably noticed I was going all over the fretboard, and it's something you ought to practice, knowing your arpeggios and scales all over your fretboard, and in all keys of course. But we just start with the C major triad, and the C major triad is C of course, and then the major third, which is E, the third step of the major scale, 1, 2, 3, and then the fifth, which is the fifth step of a major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that makes the C major chord, C, E, G, and then I add the octave here. So we only have 3 different notes. And one thing you could start when you want to get that full knowledge of the fretboard is just finding the C's on your bass. And the octave is a no-brainer of course. And I'm on a 5-string bass, so I get the low C as well. And up here I was in the A string root position, where I have the root C on my A string, and then we have the same octave here where we have the root position of the E string. So the same, so here we have the same pair, and then we have the high octave. I have because I have a 5-string, low octave here. But even if you're on a 4-string bass, you just find the 6 different C's you got, and we use that as our target notes. This position here, this position here at the 8th fret, and this position here at the, well, be 12, 13, 14, 15 fret. This is our start point. Okay, an arpeggio in this position. Just practice it normally, but it's more fun to practice to the to the reggae groove. So I'll just put this on, And we just play the notes in the lower position here, in the position where we have the root note C on the A string. And you notice I was playing at the initial root position of second finger on C, first finger on the E, fourth finger on the G, and fourth finger on the octave C. And of course this position comes of the when we practice the major scale in its root position. But you should actually know more than one position for a chord and a scale. You should also know this position where you start on the first finger instead of the second and play the third on the same string like this. So it's third fret, A string, seventh fret, A string, fifth fret, D string. This is same. So we have first finger, fourth finger, first finger, first finger. So we have two different kind of positions. The one starting on the second finger, same notes, but this is especially good, the second position, when you want to reach higher, when you're going higher up the fretboard. And that you should be able to play in all the different places where the C is. So I'm trying to play now the same thing again. We stick to this region, but I'll have the two different fingerings for C major triad. Okay, let's try that to the reggae groove. Okay, let's try the same two patterns. I'm calling patterns the fingerings for the C major arpeggio, C major chord. And now we move the two patterns up to the position where we have the root on the E string. And here we also have the possibility of the higher string. So this position on this, and we're gonna add the notes from the G string. And especially when playing in this position where you start on the second finger, if you want to start, use this fingering, this pattern to go up the neck. A good thing is to move your hand position like this, instead of saying second finger, first finger, fourth, fourth, third, and then move up like this. I do this: second finger, first finger, second finger, second finger, first finger, and then the fifth. Then I got. Actually, I'm playing the first triad, and then I'm repeating the triad an octave above. So you can also think of, if you're confused of too many notes, just think when you're playing the notes within the octave. And then when you get to the octave, you just repeat the pattern. Maybe with the same fingering. The same goes for the fingering where we start on the first finger here. First finger, fourth or third. I tend to use the third. The longer up the neck I go, because there's not that much space between the frets. So we can say here first, third or fourth. First, first, third, first. So we have the pattern. We just repeat the pattern an octave above. Same fingering. So you only have to think about within the octave. When you come to the octave, you just repeat the pattern. So it's or. Okay, let's try with the music playing in this section of this. So now we have two fingerings, two positions. We have this and this position. This. And then we have the last position, which is the octave position here, where we have the root on the A string, an octave above this, up on the 15th fret. You can just look at it as the same as here. We just think that the open string here is equivalent of the 12th fret. So third, open, third, and the other fingering, first finger. Okay, let's put all three positions together. Up an octave. It was the same two patterns, just an octave apart with the same distance between frets, the same fingerings. Let's add the middle position. Just playing random notes in the C major arpeggio. You can make up your own. That's a good one. I can reach the high E here on my Sandberg. Okay, to recap, I'm just playing long notes, no reggae beat, no shuffle. The initial position here. birds are complaining. I think there's a cat nearby. Okay, and in the root note on the E string position. And up on the high octave. And you can of course mix and match. So shift here, like this. And then maybe try to shift between two chords. For instance, C to F. F is a fourth from the C, and you know I usually like to play all my exercise in all keys, sometimes at least. But this time I'll just play in the two keys. So we go between C and F, and just F, of course, is here. So between C and F, let's say a couple of bars in between. 1, 2, 3, 4.